Hello everybody, welcome to Wide Family Farm. Today I am going to attempt my third, yes my third, garden tour video. I wanted to do one at least once a week to look at the progress of our garden. And pretty much each time that I have done it, there is something that has went wrong. So let's go ahead and we'll take a closer look at the garden. Okay, so we put neem oil on the garden last night. We have a couple instances where we have ants. So I don't know if that will help. And I'm a little confused too because I know some ants pollinate, and I actually found ants inside the buds of my cucumber plants. So I didn't really want to kill them off just yet because I didn't know if they were actually helping. So far I have a ton of buds on my cucumbers, just no cucumbers yet. So let's go ahead, we'll take a look at the cucumbers. They're getting really big, just no cucumbers as of yet. And yeah, and I was told if they're not pollinated, that they will just fall off. And I've read that multiple times. And I also read that bees, if they see another flower that they prefer, that they won't pollinate your cucumbers. And I've been reading up a lot about cucumbers, so I don't know. I was also told that your first flowers are primarily male. So I don't know if I need to pick one of these flowers and hand pollinate myself. I'm not sure. Here is a little teeny cucumber, but I don't know if it's going to fall off or not. My plants are extremely healthy, so I think I'm just going to wait until bees pollinate them. I have a male flower right here that I can see, so I might use that to pollinate my plant. And you can do it with a little paintbrush. You just get inside, get the pollen on it, and then pollinate all the rest of the flowers with it. The only problem is I had a really hard time, because you're supposed to take it off. You can take off the flower, and I have a problem with doing that. I didn't want to do that just yet. But yeah, they're getting really big. And there's just flies on them. I thought it was an actual cucumber bug. But yeah, they're getting big and they're beautiful. I have my very first time growing loofah gourds, and it looked like something was eating them. And my camera keeps going in and out of focus, sorry guys. But something was eating it, so that's another reason why we sprayed neem oil last night. And then I'm gonna take off some of those leaves that are unhealthy looking. Here's another loofah gourd. You can see that, there we go. You can see that it's like unhealthy looking. And here it looks like it's got sun damage. So I'm gonna take those off and help the plant grow a little bit more. Kajari melons, can't speak. And they got some buds on them too, but it looks like some sun damage as well. And Itsy just mainly flies, so that's good. And I've been watering these every day because we've had rain, but the next 3 or 4 days we're not supposed to have rain, and it's supposed to be like in the 90s, so these plants are definitely going to get thirsty. And in between here, we planted our pepper plants. You can see that. We planted our pepper plants, and it looks as if they're doing wonderful, except for this spot right here. This is our second plant in there, and that one still looks like it's getting beat up. I don't know if it just doesn't like that spot or what's going on. The cucumber that was here didn't make it, so we planted some seeds. So I've been watering that every day as well. Our bok choy got too hot. This is what happens when you plant your garden and the weather gets too hot too fast. It went to seed. Flower. So there's flowers on it. Oh, and that looks like some kind of pollinator right there, which is really exciting. I hope it makes it over to my cucumber plants. So I don't know what we're gonna do with this. I think we're just gonna leave the roots in there, chop them down, and then feed them to the birds. I mean, some of them don't have flower heads, but some of them do. So it's probably just best just to take them all down. Kind of stinks, but you live and you learn as far as that's concerned. So maybe next year they are kind of a frost hardy plant because it's more like a cabbage. So I think next year we'll just plant them earlier. We did plant okra right here. So that, however, loves the heat. And I'm excited about that. I've never had fresh okra. I've only had it deep fried at Cracker Barrel. So I'm excited to see what that's going to taste like. I haven't really been to this section of my garden. I've had huge carpenter bees, and I wanted to get some of this weeded out. This is our raspberry patch that we planted when we first moved in, but we thought they died. And so we just kind of let it go. And then obviously they didn't die. They're getting huge. And we want them to. We want to have raspberries. But I have all these huge dandelion patches in here. And I love dandelions. It's cool. It pollinates. They help the pollinators and stuff. But I don't want them in my raspberry patch. So I was slowly pulling these out. But the bees kept attacking me. So we're going to have to deal with that. I don't know if neem oil would get rid of them or not. To spray the poles maybe with neem at night or something. I don't know. I was also told you could crumble up a brown paper bag and put it up, and they'll think it's a hornet's nest, and then they'll go away. But they've drilled holes in these poles as well, so that's not good for a fence line. So we might have to find other means to get rid of them. This is my mint. It came back from a couple years now, and it's doing wonderful. There's no bugs in it. It's beautiful. So I'm thinking about chopping some of this down, because once you chop it down, it grows bushier too. So I'm thinking about just chopping some of it down and drying it. These are our onions. And even though the soil in here, the soil wasn't too great, the onions are actually doing wonderful. And these are those red onions, and they're getting big, which I'm excited about. So we'll see how that's gonna go. This asparagus here is from another person's garden, and it just won't ever die. And not that I don't want it to die, but apparently you can't kill asparagus, because we put cardboard down and we put this bed over top of it, and it actually came up through the bed, and it actually went to seed, which is good because I want it to go to seed. So hopefully it will just take over this bed. So that will be really good, and then I don't have to worry about it coming up like that every year. It'll just come up through the bed. This is our kohlrabi, and it's not doing too hot either. It's more of a cold weather variety, and it's purple. It hasn't, I mean, it's gotten a little bigger, but it doesn't look too great either. So I think it's just got too hot for it too soon. Our potatoes are doing great, and they've actually grown up another like 6 inches, it seems, and we'll have to put more straw. So we're just going to continue to put more straw on it so the sunlight doesn't hit it, because as soon as the sunlight hits the soil, it can rot your potatoes. So we just got to keep the straw on it and keep it, you know, dry, keep the bugs off of it. And that's exactly what we've been doing. This is our pepper patch, and our peppers are actually doing wonderful. I'm really surprised. I was told that they really like to touch each other, so we'll see how that's going to go. If they get bushy and if they touch each other, that'd be great, but they're a little farther apart than what I would like, but we didn't know that until after the fact we put these holes in. So next year we'll plant them closer together. These are California Golden Wonder, and then we go down to Bullnose. This is our wonderful different varieties of ground cherries. These are just regular ground cherries that we got from Baker Creek. That's what they were called, it's just ground cherries. And these ones are our New Hanover ones, and they are doing wonderful. If they taste as good as just like your regular average ground cherry, we will do nothing but the New Hanover ones from now on, because they grew up so fast, and we already have buds on them. So that's really good. Compared to last year or whatever, we had smaller ground cherries, and it took forever for them to grow up. We had to put lights on them. We didn't think that they were going to make it, but as soon as they hit the ground, then they started getting prolific, which is good. It's what we wanted, but the New Hanover ones seem to really go fast. So we're gonna do that, I think, from now on, as long as the ground cherry is actually good. So we haven't tasted it yet. And this is a little shady over here, but the peppers are still doing good. And move around here. These are Cherokee purples, and I don't know if you are familiar with this method, but as soon as they get to the tops here, we're supposed to support them with the cattle panel. Then we're supposed to attach them, and then they'll grow up from there. And then everything from the cattle panel down, it gets stripped. And no suckers or anything like that. It helps with the airflow underneath and keeps mold and stuff like that from getting on the plant. Mildew and stuff like that. It's more of a healthier tomato plant. So we did that the other day. My husband did. He's more of the tomato aficionado. And these are our tomatillos, and I cannot believe it already. I don't know if you could see, but we got flowers on them already, which is super good. I cannot wait. These are purple ones, so I can't wait to make like a salsa out of them. I think they'll be really pretty. Not only will they be pretty, they'll taste really good too. These are Kellogg's breakfast. We got pear here, and blueberry, or no, these are a Brad Atomic grape, and then the blueberry are at the end. And you know, everybody's like, oh, Brad Atomic grape, they didn't like them, whatever. I cannot wait to try one and see what it's gonna taste like. Because some people have good reviews about them, and then some people have bad reviews about them. So we'll see how that's going to go. You really just kind of have to try it out for yourself, because everybody grows differently. And these are also Cherokee purple. And these are our Amish paste. We did Amish paste because we want to can a lot of sauce this year, and we were told that these make a really good sauce, and that they're really good as far as tomato juices and stuff like that, and they get huge. So it'll be really good for us. There's something out here that's making my throat tickle. Sorry. Oh, I almost got attacked by one of those bees. It just flew right at me. But I can't wait to actually see what these are going to look like. Not only am I excited about it, but I can't wait to harvest them and get a bunch of sauce out of it. I mean, we maybe did about 12 cans of tomato juice last year, and it lasted us till about midwinter, and I used it for chili and all different kinds of stuff. I experimented with tomato soup. It didn't turn out too good, but you live and you learn on that, and I'll probably make a better type of tomato soup once we get all these tomatoes harvested. And these are just, I mean, just all tomatoes, Kellogg's breakfast. We have pear and blueberry, and we only planted one white beauty. I think we got the seeds for free through Baker Creek. So I'm anxious to see, one, what it looks like, and two, I don't really like tomatoes, but I'm willing to try each and every one to see if there's actually a tomato variety that I actually like. Obviously I like all the sauces and stuff like that, but as far as the actual just eating a tomato off the vine, that's not something that's good to me. So, but I am anxious to see what this white beauty tastes like, and what it looks like. So it's probably going to be a really good plant. It was the only one that survived. So, and then we just stuck a blueberry here at the end. And these are our peas, and we don't know if they're going to do anything yet. They still don't have any blooms or anything on them. They are getting tall, however. They're not dying. It's just I don't have any blooms, and they are King Tut. We're just anxiously waiting for them to do something, but I don't think they will. I think it's too hot out here for them. They aren't dying, but we also don't have any flowers either. So kind of disappointed, but we'll figure it out. Maybe next year we'll plant them earlier, maybe in March or something, and see how it works. Peas are typically a cold weather crop. We were worried because we got some snow, so we didn't really know how that was going to work out. We actually ended up covering them. So, but we'll figure it out, and maybe next year we'll actually have peas that we can eat. But so far, these are actually doing really good as far as the plant's concerned. It's just no buds. And we picked all of our radishes. This is the first year that we had radishes that bolted. So I came out here one day and I was like, oh no. I'm like, Dustin, my husband, I'm like, you better get out here. I'm like, we got to pick these radishes because one of them already bolted. And it has been hot, unusually hot. It's been in the 90s, probably about 85 degrees, and it's a little too hot for these cold weather vegetables. And so I'm like, let's get these picked. So we picked them all, and through this whole thing, we had a ton of radishes, and they were Easter egg basket from Baker Creek. So we got a wide variety of icicle and all of that. They were not big. They had, I think, just a horrible start because it was too cold and they didn't grow and it was too much for them. So, but that's okay. We chopped them up, and yesterday when our friends were over, we roasted them and put them on the grill, and everybody loved them except for my son, because when he put them in his mouth, he shivered. He must have thought they were a potato, and he popped him. I put ketchup on him, and I thought he'd like them, but he didn't. He ended up not liking them, so it's pretty funny. And these are another bed of potatoes, and we got to put more straw on. They're just getting huge, and that's good. I just hope that there's a lot of potatoes underneath. This is my bed of lettuce from January. I think we planted this, and I think that's what we're gonna have for lunch today, is I'm gonna just harvest it. It'll probably be my last harvest, and then I'm gonna let it bolt and try and get some seeds from it. This is my herb garden. I learned from the Stivers that if you cut the tops off of your dill, it'll get bushier. So that's what I did, is I cut the tops off of these ones, and I don't know if they've gotten bushier, but they have grown a lot. So it's getting huge. I'm going to harvest a lot of this. The reason why I wanted more dill is because we're going to have a whole bunch of cucumbers, I hope, cross my fingers. And I wanted to use that for making pickles. This is spicy hot oregano. Everybody says, oh, you're going to regret planting this much oregano. But honestly, I've never had oregano come back. We get really, really cold weather, so I never thought it would reseed and come back. But apparently it does. And I think Emma Gardner did a section about a video about how oregano and chives come back and they're prolific, like they'll just take over a bed. So I guess I just need to be careful, but I really like this spicy hot oregano, so I'm not really all that worried about it. I think I'll just continue to harvest it and I'll have a ton of oregano. Everybody seemed to love it too. It's not really hot, but it tastes more like pizza, so it's very good. My cilantro here is doing wonderful. I cut off a bunch. We made a ton of salsa already because we had about 10, 11 bags of tomatoes left over from last year. So I made a ton of cilantro, and then I did a progression and I planted more seeds behind it. So I'm gonna have a ton of cilantro. This is borage, and the leaves taste like cucumbers, and it is really good. However, I just don't really see the need for borage. I just don't see it. So next year, I'm probably gonna end up giving away my seeds. But next year, I definitely will not be planting that in my garden. It's just not something that is gonna give me a huge harvest. I guess if I planted a huge bed of it or something, but they're just little flowers, and yeah, they're nifty to, pop in your mouth every once in a while, but I don't see myself planting a bunch of that. I have a ton of basil over here that I had saved, or not saved, but transplanted. And then I didn't know if it was going to do good or not because it did get a little sunburnt. So I did a progression of it down here. So I'll probably get some more basil coming in. I had a heck of a time with chives, and I wasn't too happy. Twice now I had used a packet of seeds. I don't even know where I got it from, but I used a packet of seeds and they didn't pop up at all. Everybody's like, oh, chives are so easy to grow, and they're prolific and they'll keep coming back and you're gonna regret planting them and whatever. I had a heck of a time trying to get them to grow. So my husband went and bought me some chives from the store. So I put those in there, and I was told that if you cut the tops off before they go to seed, that you won't have a huge takeover of them. So I'm just going to watch and take the tops off before they go to seed, and hopefully it'll be okay from there. And these are our potato experiments. We decided to put potatoes in the buckets and see how that's going to go. I'm excited to see this method. I just saw a video. I'm sorry that was zoomed in, but I just saw a video of this guy. I'm going to put a link of his page down below. It's the Allotment Diaries. I absolutely love watching this guy. They do competition vegetable harvesting, and they do competition carrots, and it's like huge vegetables, and like a 10-pound onion, and the entire show is amazing. And this guy really knows his stuff. So I was watching, and he planted his potatoes in a bucket, and he did about 7 buckets, and he got 75 pounds of potatoes out of these buckets. So I'm hoping that these buckets have potatoes underneath them and that we get a big harvest out of them, because that'll be super cool. And then, you know, we can just do sweet potatoes in here or regular potatoes and not take up our garden space. All right, and that concludes the garden tour. Hopefully this turns out okay. This is my 3rd attempt at doing the garden tour. Each time I've done it, there's something on the camera that has went wrong. Either it's flipped upside down, or I had dogs barking, or it just didn't look right, or it wouldn't download properly. So hopefully this is a great garden tour for you for this week. And we look forward to seeing you on our next video. Like and subscribe. We do have another video out there of our greenhouse, so check that out. And we'll see you next video. Have a good day, guys.